Secret, COVID-19 has changed the way we do things. For many of us, that includes how we deposit checks. During this pandemic, millions of Americans switched over to mobile banking because it's incredibly convenient. But tonight, our Bob Siegel shares the dark side of mobile banking that many people don't discover until it's too late.
Rob Fine and Harold Wilson have never met, but they have a lot in common. Both own small businesses. Both are victims of check fraud.
They're stealing the checks out of the mailbox.
It's actually just theft.
And both are out a lot of money.
4 checks was $12,000.
3 checks for a total of $21,000 we lost.
These are the checks Rob is talking about. He says after they were mailed, someone stole them and changed the names. Instead of going to vendors, the checks went to Michael King, Martwan Rowe Williams, and Hannah Ivy. Who are those people?
I have no idea how to answer that question.
And look at that check. The altered name and address were literally cut and pasted onto the document, and yet a bank still cashed it. I mean, as far as con jobs go, this isn't even a good one.
It's ridiculous. I don't know how it ever got past anyone.
These are the first 4.
The checks stolen from Harold's company were doctored and completely forged, according to the office manager.
The address and all has been changed, not the way ours is actually laid out. And then they put in their own name and signed 4 different names here. 4 different people signed these checks. The amounts are whatever they chose to try to get out of our account. They made their own checks just by getting information off of our checks.
It happened last summer, and just a few weeks ago, Harold and his wife had more checks stolen, this time not from their business.
This mailbox right here.
Your home mailbox?
My home mailbox.
And again, the criminal was sloppy, simply whiting out portions of the printed check and handwriting a new name, address, and dollar amount. The original check was for just $63. Why would a bank accept something that looks like that?
Because it went through the mobile banking. Some of the new technology is letting people get away with this.
No question, what makes it easy to happen is the online app that banks give you.
This is what they're talking about. Those handy mobile banking apps that millions of people now use to deposit checks. Just point and shoot and you're done. No need to drive to your bank or ATM. Since the start of the pandemic, mobile banking has skyrocketed. Last April alone, right after the pandemic started, new mobile banking registrations jumped 200%. Consumers are not the only ones who enjoy the convenience of depositing checks by phone. Criminals love it too.
The fraudsters are always one step ahead, and they've figured out how to make a deposit and quickly go and withdraw the money.
John Ravita is the marketing director for SQN Banking Systems, a company that provides fraud detection tools for banks. He says mobile banking is ideal for criminals because they never have to actually show up at a bank.
I think the challenge with mobile banking, it's faceless.
In 2018, even before the spike in mobile banking, criminals stole $1.3 billion through check fraud, according to the American Bankers Association. But that same year, banks stopped 10 times that much in attempted fraud, thanks to sophisticated technology.
They're doing a heck of a job stopping check fraud as best they can.
But if banks are doing a good job and they have the technology to spot fraudulent checks deposited by mobile banking, why do they still accept blatantly fraudulent checks like these? Ravita says many smaller banks and credit unions have not invested in adequate fraud prevention tools. And even big banks that do use the technology can't inspect every single check for signs of fraud.
That doesn't always happen. It's just not cost justified to look at every check.
13 Investigates reached out to the American Bankers Association, which represents the banking industry. A spokesman told 13 News, protecting customers from fraud is a top priority for the nation's banks. Banks of all sizes use a range of sophisticated systems to prevent the overwhelming majority of fraud attempts. When fraud does occur, customers are typically made whole. Have you gotten all this money back from the bank?
No. They said we allowed it to happen.
Harold and his staff have now waited 9 months for their bank to make them whole. Rob's bank has reimbursed him for only about half his losses.
Nobody's jumping up and down and saying, oh, we're going to take care of this, we're going to take care of that.
Both businessmen say they know other people in the same boat, and now they're hoping to warn others.
It's a big deal.
You've got to stop this problem.
It's unreal.
that the world's gotten to like this, where you can't use your own mailbox.
People are getting away with this. It doesn't seem like anybody is having to pay for what they're doing.
Police reports have been